Okay. All right. Thank everyone for tuning in. Anyone that will tune in later on, I hope everything comes through clear. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina, back with update on the events that are occurring. I want to say this: I can't. I may slip and say the words of what's going on in society right now, what's causing great panic, fear, and concern, but I don't want to say it because they are actually um, censoring just about every video without viewing it, but out of precaution, they're censoring. And a lot of the good information about what's occurring right now has been deleted off of YouTube. There's one particular person I wanted to play for you today, but I can't do that now because they deleted the video. So I want to go into several things today. I'm going to take my time, God willing, not going to rush because it's Friday and we ain't got nothing to do. So we're going to try to go into a few things today. I have them written down. I had a rough night last night again. That's to be expected. How many of you know that prophets and messengers don't get to really take a vacation? Like a person who says that they're with God and trying to spread God's word don't get to take a vacation. And how many of you know that regardless as to what people may think of that person, they still have to do what they are asked to do? And how many of you know that God does not force you to do anything, not for your salvation, but if he's using you, it's for the salvation of the people. So we're trying to get the message out to the people now, where we are and what's happening. A lot of things I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, I'm going to say 45, I guess, because I don't want to say his name so much because I don't want to get censored. I want to talk about that. A statement that he made. I want to talk about some current events that we spoke about on another broadcast recently that are now coming to pass. And I want to put out a little advertisement about the series we have coming up entitled Cracking the Code or Cracking the Bible Code. This is not a part of it, but this is something that I had to come out with today because we are becoming a little laxed in our concern about what's going on and how this thing is spreading. And we're so eager to get back to normal that we're ignoring the warning signs that are right before us. So let's get into that real quick. And like I said, it'll take about an hour. And please, if possible, I don't know how I'm talking or how I look. If I look arrogant, I apologize. If I look overconfident, I apologize. I try to use the endorphins in my body by God's permission to keep me mellow, a little high. So when I'm talking, I'm moving a little. I don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do any of that. So I try to use the endorphins in my body, and it's not an arrogance. And I pray from the depths of my soul that if anyone thinks that I am trying to be arrogant, you just study my life a little bit, and you know that I don't have room to be arrogant at all. So again, humbly I say, I want to open with the prayer again. Happy Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak for those who practice fasting from now until the end of next month. Any habit that you have, you can stop. Believe it or not, as much as I love having my fingernails manicured, at one time I had such bad nerves that I would bite my fingernails down till they bleed, and I would bite the skin on the back of my nails until they bleed. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that if we could stop a bad habit for 30 days, we could replace it with a brand new habit. So almost 20 years ago, I stopped biting my nails and start getting manicures and things like that. And I actually stopped, by God's permission, biting my nails. So it is Ramadan. Any problems that you may have, any thing that is taking control of your life, we dedicate ourselves to trying to stop those things. So right now, because of my medical issues, I'm addicted to Soma. I'm addicted to caricipridol, pain pills. So for the last 2 months, I didn't take the pain pill because it's damaging my liver. So I'm fighting an addiction, fighting with my people, fighting with myself, fighting with all these things, and still trying to come on and share information that God gives to me. So yeah, I'm an addict. You would never know it, but I was addicted to Ultram pain pills because I'm in that much pain. I fell off of a ladder and I damaged my back so bad, and I cut all the nerves in my hand, broken knuckle twice, cut the nerves in this hand. I'm legally blind in this eye. So I'm always in pain. You wouldn't know it. So if I look arrogant, I apologize. Now I hope that you will listen to what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to make any friends. I love y'all anyway. I love you on a spiritual level. It's totally different. So let's get into this thing. It's going to take about 45 minutes now, God willing. Now, today, the last time we spoke, I told you all that the young and the dissatisfied would start to go into the churches, pulling out pastors who are not telling them information that is viable to their life, conducive to their life. I told you that they would start pulling out politicians, pulling up at your doorstep, putting you on the back of trucks and hurling insults as well as rocks and bottles and other things at you because of their dissatisfaction. The militia groups have come out, and the militia groups are on the side of President Donald Trump. The militia groups find value in Donald Trump. And the militia groups are not just white. The militia groups are white and black. So recently on the news, because of the shutdown, militia groups in Virginia, Texas, and other places are pulling up to mayors and councilmen's front door with AR-15s, with assault rifles and sniper rifles and full tactical gear, and saying, open up the city, we want to work. That is why what is happening right now with governors and trying to open up certain parts of the city because they don't want to go to war with militias. To my people, black people, these militias are fighting your battle for you, for us. We take the battle into prayer, which is important, very important, but prayer without works is futile. It does not work. We take it into belief, which belief is not a proven thing. You're just believing in hopes that it will be proven. But these people come out with a plan, a tactical plan. And God said to warn us about that. And it is coming to fruition right now. You look on the news, these militia groups flying the American flag, flying the Confederate flag, coming to the doorsteps of politicians, and they will begin to do worse. One group said that if we find out that this situation that we are in that shut down America was a hoax, they said this country will be sorry. This is a quote. If you wasted our time, you'll be sorry. So why you don't think people are afraid of these groups, government is afraid. And in fact, the Constitution says that we have a right to bear arms to protect ourselves against tyrannical governments. And that's the law that is being used. So in this volatile time, many of us who are posting up things about what y'all call 45, be very, very careful, because especially in the South, this is a Republican state. And many of your Democrats are shadow Republicans. They don't tell you that, but they are. They vote the Democrat. They hang with Democrats, but they are Republicans. Because they are in a different financial bracket, and the Republican Party fights for the wealthy and the rich. Obama was not for the poor. Obama was for the middle class, the wealthy, the rich. Understand. I got to mark these things off as I'm talking, and I got to get it off of my chest, because it's like being in the belly of the whale. It's very stressful, and I get disillusioned, and I get all discombobulated, and hey, man, I get nervous, I get crazy. So the militias are out. They're not playing. I know militia members. I talk to them about weapons all the time. They can tell me how a bullet rises, drops, rises back up, how fast it goes when it curves. They know the tactical techniques and what is necessary to survive, survival techniques. They have a lot of nurses and physicians in their group that are able to take care of them. They have survival gear. They have rations, MR, meals ready to eat. They are ready. we are praying and playing with this thing. So that's my warning to us about that. Now I want to talk about this thing that we have going on with the president saying that you can cure or at least try to cure this situation by ingesting, getting a light source into the bloodstream or into the body, or disinfecting the body. I want you all to do something for me the next time you see the president on television. He has an advisory staff, medical and human resources. He has all of these people available to him to give him advice. He has to be advised every morning as to what's going on and the actions that should be taken. Listen to what I'm saying. And notice when he gets on camera, how the people he hired to do a certain thing will go off script and catch him off guard. And when you go off script and catch someone off guard, they're fumbling, trying to get their words together. And sometimes they say things that don't make a lot of sense. That's like getting in a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend and you say, I hate you. The sex ain't good anyway. You broke ass. You didn't mean that, but you said it. Now you get back with this person, but in the back of their mind, they'll never forget what you said. So here you have the president. Let me read this. This is a quote now. I'm reading it as it's a quote. It's in quote. He says, suppose that we hit the body with tremendous, rather it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said, he says to the person, I think you said that it has been checked and you're going to test it, Trump said. Suppose you can bring that light inside the body. Then it says, then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in 1 minute. Trump continues, is there a way we can do something like that by injecting inside or almost a cleaning? It would be interesting to check that. Within a little while, black folks, our folks, and some others, the people who have the ability to steer the media, who are literally using Donald Trump as a ruse, as a distraction, as they do something else over here. We're so busy addressing the buffoonery, we can't pay attention to what's really happening. So notice how he's always caught off guard with people in private that say one thing and then get in front of the camera and catch him off guard. He never said, according to this quote, use bleach or disinfectant to put in an IV. He didn't say those words. But the images that we put up, one fella got a Clorox bottle with the IV in his arm. We make jokes about everything. Everything is a joke. And let me tell you something. I was up the other night looking at TMZ and some other show. When it was the opioid crisis and young white boys and young white girls were dying, white folks immediately sprung into action to get a solution to this problem and started handing out these injections that'll bring a person back to life if they OD on opioids. They didn't make a joke about it. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a game. When this thing started happening and it was attacking Caucasians and Asians more than it was black, it was the most important thing on the ticket. Shut down everything. But when it shifted all of a sudden and started attacking elderly black, young black, all of a sudden people started making jokes about it. All of a sudden the money rolls out, and then all of a sudden the things that we like, that we will risk our life to go get, started opening back up. Pay attention to what's happening. You're not important. And if you're not important to yourself, who should be concerned about you? You are a burden on this nation. The best of us are. Why? Because when we get our highest degree, what do we have to do? We have to go out and find a job, as opposed to making a job. So one of Trump's supporters was on a radio broadcast, and she says, had we known that bringing slaves to this country would make us have to take care of you, I'm paraphrasing, we would have left y'all ass over there because you are a burden now. We should just bring boxes of bullets and guns, drop them in the black neighborhood, and let y'all kill yourselves. I know you got white friends, and they're sincere. They are. And I told you that before. Some people don't see color. There are people that don't see color. They see the characteristics of the person, but they're not a threat. The people who see color and have hatred in their heart is the threat, and have power to do something about what they feel. That's the threat. So we are under threat, under danger, but it's a joke to us. Don't focus all of your time on what Donald Trump said about infectants and light. That's not changing anything in your condition and in your life. If you want to use your energy for a reason, get out here and talk to these young boys and get their mind right about what needs to be done to keep society to keep society in a civilized state. Get out there and try to look for these young boys and girls who don't have a mentor or a mentee to help them, mother or father, sister or brother, the line of divine in the family unit. Get out there and do that, because I was talking to one lady that drives the bus that parks in areas where children don't have internet. And she said since she started driving that bus and parking that bus for 5 hours, nobody came out to come and use the internet, which means they're not doing their schoolwork, which means reading and writing and comprehension is not a part of their daily makeup. They're on YouTube. Don't focus so much on the president. He's using people and he's being used. It's the oldest trick in the book. Everybody is suspect. Everybody is an enemy. So you don't know who to trust. So you're in a state of suspended animation, and people are saying, I just turn everything off. I don't want to hear nothing. But because if a tree falls in the forest and you're not there to hear it, does it make a sound? Because you're not paying attention to what's happening, does that mean it doesn't exist? If the doctor tells you you have cancer and you said, I'm going to pray on it, I ain't going to even think about it, does that mean the cancer goes away? Or will you wake up one day and find yourselves in stage 5? We're in a situation of disease and cancer, and it's spreading in the mind, the body, the spirit, the soul. And it's spreading via words, images, and actions. And as the scripture says, these are just the beginning of sorrow. So if you can't handle what's happening now without comprehending that this is something bigger than what it is, it's a game. And there are a lot of players in it. Let me mark that off. Thank you so much for listening. Again, share the information if you find it valuable. As I'm talking to myself as well, and I'm trying to learn how to just have things in my mind to say and say it without having to write everything down. Okay, so if a person says you're infected, what is the opposite of infected? Disinfected. So a person may say disinfected. Do you have a disinfectant? Because I'm infected. And I'm not trying to make words for this for the president, but I'm saying, how can you blame Donald Trump for every single thing that is going on in this country? Why do we make one person the bad? I'm like the Donald Trump of Sugar Hill. One person has to be the bad person, but they are not as bad as you're saying. You're telling half truths and lies on that person. Naturally, I would get upset. Naturally, he would get upset. Naturally, you would get upset if someone's talking about you. Everything you say is being analyzed and broken down to be made to mean whatever they want it to mean. Now, I want to go into the science of words. We got about 40 minutes left. I want to go into the science of words. For 1 minute. It won't take long. This won't take long at all, God willing. And if my computer stops, I kid you not, this thing has been locking up on me differently. Everything has a science. There is a college for studying smell. Look it up. A college for studying the science of smell. That's why the deli is always at the front when you walk into a Walmart. Immediately, they want to catch your sense of smell when you come in the door, because that stirs up something in you that makes you want to eat. And before you get to the front door, you came in there for washing powder, but by the time you leave out, you got $100 worth of grocery. It's science. And if you don't understand science, it puts us at a great disadvantage. They put bright colors when you walk into a store. Notice them. Whatever item they want you to focus on is right at the front. Right? Okay. So a linguist is a person that studies language. A linguist is on the payroll at the White House and anywhere where it's necessary to get a point across, because they know the proper words to capture your attention. And the object of capturing your attention is either to get you nodding yes or get you saying no. To get you to make up your mind as quickly as possible. And that's what's being sold today. How to win friends and influence people. Les Brown, all of your motivational speakers, all of your people who are put in the sales bracket, from houses to vacations, they're all taught how to get you nodding your head yes right off the bat. If you've ever been to, what do they call it, a timeshare in Myrtle Beach, you will ask them, hey, just tell me how much it's going to cost. Nope, can't tell you how much it costs. Got to take you through the visuals. Look at this place. It's beautiful. It's great. Everything is beautiful. And if you disagree to go along with it, the next thing they do is make you feel cheap. Well, let me go ahead and just write you this little ticket because that's all you came for. Linguistics, movement, etymology. All of these are the science of words and how words affect people. Now they got a new word called neologism. Another word another definition that studies behavior once a person says something. So they put that thing out about Trump. You didn't comprehend it. You didn't fact check it. You didn't look for the quote of what he said and what he didn't say. You just said, I know this man ain't say put no bleach. I know. Now it's Clorox. He didn't say Clorox. I'm not defending him. I'm defending the right to say what you desire to say, and for it to be interpreted the way you said it and not taken out of context. Because when you take things out of context, you cause wars, you cause fights, you cause murder. Last word, semantics. Semantics is when two people interpret the same line of text to mean something different. These are all the science of studying language and how it affects people. All of this is involved with politics and religion. Why do you think the preacher always hugs himself when he's talking? Like he just embracing God. It's a part of the process. Hello, somebody. I don't know about you. Well, I see somebody don't want to shout. And it makes you feel out of place, so you go right along with it. It's not all of it, but a lot of it. because you have to go to seminary school in order to be certified as a preacher or minister according to what this country says is required of you to be qualified as that. So when you learn to do it like we say it, you can put PhD and doctor and clergy and all that stuff, and you can get the benefits that we have to offer. Language. Mark that off the list. See if I got anything up here dealing with language. We talked to, oh, I wanted to read this. Check this out. It says, my lights are flickering on and off. I know you can hear it in the feed. It's going bzz, bzz, bzz. Something always happening, man. This says military experts warn support for Trump in the U.S. are armed. Military experts supporters for Trump in the U.S. armed forces is downright cult-like. So the support for Trump in the armed forces, they say they're calling it a cult-like, and creating frightening divisions within the ranks. So the country is dividing even more. And these people are military, so they are prepared to fight, to go to war. And check this out. Trump warns of civil war if he's impeached. And a lot of videos are going around. These militia groups are saying, hell yeah, we killing everything. Why did they bring guns to go talk to the representatives of cities and towns? Y'all, I need by God's permission, and I apologize. I didn't even say, forgive me. Let me say this real quick. I want to say a quick prayer real quick, and it's not traditional prayer. You say what you want to say, but I'm asking God to balance our minds, our hearts, and our thoughts, to balance our emotions and our actions and reactions to things that are said, that are seen, and that are done. I'm asking that he will quell and calm down the anger and bitterness and hatred that we all have within us. I'm asking and begging that God will show us how to create community, how to communicate with each other exactly what we mean, and how to comprehend what is being said. And I'm asking him to give us the verbal ability to express how we feel and make sure that the person we're talking to comprehends it. We got into the mode of texting and becoming a text talker, and we got in the mode of speaking out of anger and rushed. And that is causing more harm than it is good, because we accept what's being said without asking, what you mean by that? What did you mean? Would have fixed everything. So I am praying to God, by whatever name you call him, that he will begin to allow us to take advantage of his mercy, because we're not right now. Because we are in personality cults. Because God, by whatever name you call him, does not clash with himself. So that means that the people who got a certain part of God wants their way to be right. So they're willing to fight you to make you believe what they believe. Asking God for mercy in this time of trouble, because everyone wants the top spot. So when you say they are doing this and they are doing that, there are a lot of theys. There are a lot of secret organizations and shadow governments and puppets and all of these things in place that are trying to take advantage of ignorance. So we have to pray against it, but at the same time, we have to take action. You share DJ Cleve, DJ B Lord, DJ Pay Me, anybody that's playing music, Warren. You share all of these things, Freddie. They get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hits, and that's great, because I'm a DJ. And I've been one probably longer than most of them. And that's great. DJ Al, all of them, Floyd B. I know all of these people. Share this information, because this is more important than any of that. Music can make you feel good, but it doesn't solve your problem. So we talked about semantics and a lexicographer. And a lexicographer, and I may be pronouncing that incorrectly, but that is the person who actually writes the dictionary. Can you believe that? That puts all the definitions of words in the dictionary. Because did you know that an English word means something different than a Hebrew word? Hebrew words have more meanings than just English. They're not definitely specific, but they cover a lot. So look out for language. Look out for Donald Trump when he's put on the spot, how he gets angry and upset because he was caught off guard. Most of our killings and murder and everything else are due to people being caught off guard. They didn't have time to think a rational thought. I don't want to run that into the ground. So now I want to go into this topic, and this is very, very important. And then I'm going to close, but I want to see where I need to start. We talked about the power of language. I can X that out. So I want to start with this if I can. Okay? Talking about what is occurring right now and what has the country shut down and what we need to know. Because to us, we've been locked down long enough. And since it doesn't seem like there is a problem, we go back. We want to go back to normal as soon as possible. Whoever started this situation, whatever their purpose was for starting it, and this is laboratory stuff. This is not something that just happened. Somebody put this together like AIDS and HIV was put together, like crack cocaine was cooked up in a lab. And try not to text me saying where you get that from. Just look it up. And keep in mind that Google is taking a lot of the information off of their search engine because they are a part of the issue right now. All of your social websites and streaming live sites are being bought up by the same people because they want to control the narrative. So when you get information, God willing, I'm praying that, I ended my prayer. When you get information, God willing, we will at least cite it from 3-4 different sources before we bring it out to the public, okay? So let's get into this. In the first broadcast that I did about what's going on right now was on January the 31st. And by God's permission, I said I believe it would reach this country and it would be a really bad situation. And I talked about, by God's permission, that it is a respiratory issue, bronchial issue, influenza, like having asthma or bronchitis, and that these cells in your body, this germ, it mutates quickly. And it pushes out the air in your lungs and it takes up that space. God was telling me this then. What to take, how to try to ward off this happening to you and us. But at the moment that I'm talking, it could very well happen to me or anyone in my family, and I'm terrified about it. I'm terrified about watching someone die and not being able to do anything to help them. This is not a game to me at all. So whatever caused it, rather it is as bad as they say it is, it's definitely attacking us, the young and the old. And we are definitely not the first on the list to be taken care of. Look, self-survival is first. Right now, it's that they said it. We got to decide who we allow to live or die because the supplies are a short number in supplies. So if someone has to live, let's look at who they are. Oh, he done been in jail. Okay, he ain't doing nothing. Oh, he's a doctor. Oh, he's helping his own people. Let him die. The power of God is in the hands of the person who has the solution to the problem. Okay. Now I want to go to this. If I can, Lord have mercy. They are giving me. Yeah. According to the report, says breaking news, says this thing has now mutated to over 30 strands. In our first broadcast, we talked about it already being airborne. That was January 31st. I said it's not going to be airborne. It's already airborne. But they're not telling you that. I didn't read that anywhere. God gave it to me. And you have to trust God with what he gives you. And if you believe in what is being said, you put your life on it. So I couldn't sit around and wait to see it happen behind the door and then come out. Yeah. I knew that already. No, you speak it to power. You speak what you say God gave you. You tell it. So when it comes into fruition, you won't be looked at as a fool. Okay? Unfortunately, information we don't care about until it's time for us to care. And you're going to have to care very soon if you're not already caring, because out of sight, out of mind with us. If we don't see it, we don't care about it. It's now mutated. Finding a cure for the current blank has been challenging scientists and medical professionals all over the world, to scientists and medical professionals all over the world. However, it now seems that the mission may be more complicated than initially thought, as it has been reported through a Chinese study on infected individuals that this virus, Lord have mercy, SARS-CoV-2 has now mutated to over 30 strands. This may further delay the development of vaccines. Now, on Facebook and other pages, you are seeing doctors saying that a person may have cancer, they may be dying from diabetes, they may have liver failure, but if it is found that in that process they are infected with this issue, the death will be counted as because of this issue they died. This is for a reason. There are billions of dollars on the table for the person who can find a solution or a fix to this problem. So the more people who are calculated as dying from it, the more money that is put out there for a solution. And the person who finds the solution is like the person who wins the Olympics. They get the most money. So it is a capitalistic money grab. Now the testing starts. And they put on the table the light being injected into the body, infrared light, and some type of disinfectant. And that's what the president repeated from a private meeting. He said, I think you said, which they talked about it before. And then when he said it out loud, the guy's like, I ain't say that. So now we get on there, hey, man, this crazy president, he crazy. No, not as crazy as you think. So, yeah. The experimentation has started, and the only way you get the people to go on the side of the experiments is to make the situation worse and more frightening, so that we will be dashing, saying, yeah, give me whatever you got, like, hey, whatever. So knowing that this would happen after Donald Trump said what he said, and it was taken out of context, Lysol and other companies start saying, don't swallow Lysol, don't drink light, don't put that on us. We don't want to be paying no lawsuits. So now it's broken down into 30 strands, which means it is able to spread in different ways. Got that done. Only a few more things. Only a few more things. Now, it has been reported that it's best to stay 6 feet apart, some say 15, because if it is now airborne, a sneeze can cause an issue. A cough, a yawn, anything could spread this virus. And now they're saying, and I'm on the page entitled, and the page is called Fact Checks, and they're saying that if you pass gas, and I'm not trying to be vulgar, that if you pass gas, that could very well spread the virus up to a certain amount of feet. Now, I want to go into that for a minute. Now, the average person has on underwear and pants, but they're saying that that virus may be able to get through the underwear and the pants because viruses can't be seen. They're that small. They're saying, and this is fact checked, and they're saying, yeah, it's a possibility that it can get through the underwear, the pants, and affect someone. Do you understand that? So all of these people who are making these designer masks, you all better be careful with that, because you're literally saying, I made this mask. You're not putting the right, what do you call them? disclaimers on them. You just trying to make a quick buck. You make this designer mask, got the Pittsburgh Steelers and got all these different colors on it, but it does not combat the virus. Now, someone purchases this from you, get the virus, and say, I bought this from so-and-so, and I was under the impression that it would protect me. Many of you are sewing them too big, one size, so all of this is open in the front. The air is going in through the top, open at the bottom, and it's only thick cloth. Some of you are putting in charcoal. Charcoal does not filter out dry spore like dust and things like that. Charcoal is for water. You put charcoal in a fish tank. If you're not using the N95 material, HVAC material, 3M material that is for virus and bacteria, you better be careful how you advertise what you're advertising unless you put the proper disclaimer on it. I showed you how to make mask out of tissue, out of napkins, and other things if it came to that. But people are in such a mad dash. I had masks for sale too, but they are 3 month. I'm not even going to do it anymore. I just do it for my family, but they're 3 month masks. They last for 3 months. And inside of the material, there is a HVAC 3M N95 material that is certified to block 99.9, 0.31% of any virus or any bacteria, soot, pollen, all of that. So if this virus can be spread through passing gas, then that means that the material you all are using with all the pretty designs on them and all of that may be effective, but 9 times out of 10, when people are working in high-risk areas, it will not be. But because you did it and because it looks like it's right, they will take your word for it. Be careful about lawsuits tearing your life apart from people who thought that what they bought from you was supposed to protect them in some way. I hope y'all understand that. Let me mark that off the list. This is not out of hate. This is out of concern, because once we see a money grab in anything, we want it. That's why we kill our people with drugs, because somebody got to sell it. So you kill you destroy the community. You destroy whole cities selling your people crack, selling your people weed, selling your people guns, and selling your people the idea that they're going to shoot their way to the top. No gangster made it to the top. All gangsters go to jail. Only a few that didn't, and the others are dead. But that doesn't concern you because we've been made apathetic. Let's move on. That's another subject for another time. I wanted to talk about another thing that's very important, especially for the children. I was watching a documentary probably about 6 years ago. And this woman brought her child into the hospital, and the child had severe toxic poisoning. And DSS, the Department of Social Services got involved. They accused her of abuse. They accused her of poisoning her child through the food. They accused her of that. And she was adamant. This is a white lady. She was adamant that she didn't do it. They wouldn't let her see it was a hand baby. They wouldn't let her see the baby. So the social worker finally got the opportunity for the lady to go see the child. I'm making a point now. Hold on. When she came into the room, she immediately went to the hand sanitizer. Bam. Then picked up the baby. And the doctor says, do you always use hand sanitizer before you? She said, yeah, because I don't want to spread any germs. That was the answer. She was poisoning the baby through the alcohol and the triglycerides and other things in the hand sanitizer. Now, we are on a hand sanitizer frenzy. I'm bringing this up because the other day, my hands had gotten so dry and brittle because I'm constantly, trying to help people. So I'm constantly using a hand sanitizer. I want to read this. CDC says increased use of bleach And hand sanitizer to fight this situation is promoting more poison control calls. So we are poisoning ourselves. And I was talking to a brother the other day because his daughter, she's 7 or 8, has this thing. And I was telling him, if it's not one thing, it's another. If we try to take care of them and we put this stuff on our hands, we're going to poison them. And he was like, what you mean? And I explained it to him. Now I'm explaining it to you. This, whatever you put on your hands, whatever you do, it is soaking into your bloodstream. And by soaking into your bloodstream, it is going to cause other illnesses. And I want to read what these are, because sometimes we think we're helping ourselves and we're doing more harm than good. My internet is going like 2 miles an hour, and I have it hooked up to a straight line. Just got into a great debate with my internet service, FTC, and you pay your bill and they just don't do you right, man. Listen, 5 hidden dangers of hand sanitizer. Listen to this. I'm just going to read them. Number 5 is antibiotic resistance. Antibiotics are effective against bacteria, but what happens if your body builds up resistance to antibiotics and in turn promotes resistance to bacteria? Triclosan contributes to many bacteria resistance to antibiotics. Using hand sanitizer may actually lower your resistance to disease by killing the good bacteria, which helps promote against bad bacteria. So when using this hand sanitizer, just like when taking too much penicillin or antiviral medicine, what it does is it kills the bad bacteria, but it destroys the good bacteria too. Next thing you know, you have something that they called, it's a name for it, I can't remember, but you have to replace the bacteria in your body by using probiotics. Likewise, with your hands, when you dry them out, you make yourself vulnerable to catching a virus. The 4th thing is alcohol poisoning, which I was just talking about. Just because it doesn't have triglycerin doesn't mean it's completely safe. The active ingredient in some hand sanitizers is usually a type of alcohol that acts as an antimicrobial that kills off bacteria. So in using this, the alcohol is soaking into your bloodstream. You're poisoning your blood, and you're drying out your hands, which you use all the time, thinking that you're protecting yourself, but you're leaving yourselves open to more viruses because, as I read earlier, the thing has mutated 30 times since it's been announced that it's out there. So each time it mutates, that means it's beating whatever we're using to combat it, it's beating that. And once the mutation turned to spores, which it is in your sweat, like I'm talking right now, and little drips of spit comes out, when you're talking and your tongue rolls, and once it turns into spores, this bacteria can spread. I'm sweating on my hand, I shake your hand, boom. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, weaker immune system. That's what happens. It weakens your immune system. Toxic chemicals. So the body receives toxic poisoning. I'm going fast through them now. That was number one is toxic chemicals. Number 2 is having a weaker immune system. Studies have shown that triclosan can also harm the immune system, which protects your body against disease. So everything that we're using to fight this thing, maybe we're overusing it. Too much of anything is not good. You know how we can't grow fingernails, but we can put on fake nails, and to the world it looks like we're glamorous because we got on fake nails, but if you pull them off, your nails aren't as long and they can't grow as long. It's an illusion. This world is an illusion, and I'm not bashing you women who wear, or the guys who wear the fake nails and the wigs. I'm just making a point. You can't grow your hair, so they've mastered how to make it look like real hair if you can pay for it. Some women are paying $200-300 a week, $2,000 a month to keep their hair looking natural. But if they pull it all out, like Tyra Banks and all of them, they're bald-headed. It's an illusion. So too much of anything is bad for us. So be careful with your hand sanitizers and understand that Lysol only was effective in fighting the coronavirus, the first one. But it has mutated 30 times now, so it's more powerful than it's ever been before. I'm almost done. Okay. Yep. Everything is dwindling down. Give me a few more minutes. And if you can share the information, it would be nice. I wanted to say this. The first time that I talked about this virus, I explained from Dr. Ali Muhammad how Dr. Lieber and many of the scientists in Wuhan, China, had gone to Alaska because the ice is oh Lord, have mercy on my cluttered mind soul. The ice is melting. I was looking for melting. The ice is melting. And in that frozen tundra, they're finding bodies of people who died from the Spanish flu. And Dr. Lieberman, fact check it, and many others took those bodies to try to study the flu, the Spanish flu. Why would you do that? The Spanish flu was not strong enough in the bodies that were in the ice, so they added 4 elements of HIV into the Spanish flu. And I was explaining that this virus that is out now attacks the body like AIDS attacks the body, but it does it rapidly. And you don't have time to think. So I want to read this right now. Who? This is in the International Business Times. It says, Wuhan lab hacks reveals coronas. I didn't want to say that. The CV was spliced with HIV to make it deadly, spreading using dry ice. Using dry ice. So the first thing that comes out is, oh, drink hot stuff to try to combat the virus. Don't drink cold stuff. Y'all hearing me? In my study and knowing people with HIV and all they have to do to stay alive, what it does to the body, and understanding that when you have the flu or any bacteria in your body, it accumulates at the bottom of your intestines, which is your anal cavity. And when it accumulates in your anal cavity, that's why now they're saying that passing gas could spread the CV, because all of the germs accumulates at the anal cavity, because that's where it all is released or supposed to be. But with HIV and AIDS and now this CV, it doesn't come out. It stays there. So now if I pass gas, you could get it. It hasn't been proven that it can't happen. Not yet. They have actually had people to pass gas on, what do they call those little platelets that they study to see germs on? Some with pants on, some naked, trying to find out if the virus is actually in their passing gas. That's the science of studying something. But with this 4 components of HIV, they are using the HIV drug to combat CV, and it is showing great promise, but they don't want to use it here. They want to inoculate. How can this medication be showing great promise if the components that the medication was designed to fight aren't in what it's trying to fight? I'm just bringing up some points that was said without knowing. I was trusting God with what I was saying by God's permission, and they're being reported now. And as I said earlier, I wish more people would listen to what I'm saying, not to me, but to what's being said, if it could save our life. My own children don't listen. My wife don't even listen. She'll come and tell me, oh, I heard somebody say this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, I said that last week. Oh, I said that. She's my love of my life, great supporter. But when you see a person suffer a lot, and you see a person seem to be going through a lot, it hurts. So that's why Job's wife said to Job, why don't you just curse God and die? Because he was going through so much, and no way God is with you, and he done made you lose everything. And Job said to her, woman, you speak as the foolish. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So when a person sees you suffering, they don't believe what you're saying. So the preachers and the people in positions of power they understand that science. So every time you see them, it looks like their life is so great that you strive for that and you never get it because it's an illusion. It's not real. This is real. Now, we told you also about the first broadcast we did. The second one I had on there, germ warfare and other things. And I was talking about how toxins can accumulate in the liver and cause kidney failure and cause other things to fail because you can become so toxic that it can kill you while you're standing up. You just drop. You're toxic. So now they're saying components of the CV is causing heart attacks and strokes without warning in people. Heart attacks and strokes, whatever this nerve gas is. However it was designed, it has reached its target, and its target is the elderly of color, black people. Well, black, it means absent of color. So the original people and the young. Why the old? That is the first subject I'll be talking about in the series entitled Cracking Biblical Code, 100% Dissatisfaction. Why kill the old and why go after the young of a particular race of people? Now, this article says coronas is damaging this body part and doctors don't know why. Trying to look for specifics, but what it's saying is that it's attacking the kidneys. So people are dying from kidney failure. And we talked about how to keep your body plenished with electrolytes, that you may need Pedialyte, that you may need Powerade or something like that. I talked with a gentleman who is into doing dialysis on people, and he said many of the ones who come and don't bring something like a Gatorade or a Coke, something sweet, they have a miserable day. But if you, after that, the dialysis, if you drink something sweet, you pick up quicker. Solutions to problems we're giving. We're almost done. I only got two more things. Oh, wait a minute. No, not two. We talked about the hand sanitizer. Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about real quickly. If and when this CV becomes mutate into spores and begin to, can pass through sweat, that means I can come to a grocery store and pick up a can, and if I was sweating, I put it back down, and you pick it up, then you have it. If I have gloves on and my hands are sweating, because gloves do have holes in them, you don't see them, but they have little holes. Even with gloves on, if I touch it and you touch it, there is a possibility that it can spread that way. I want you to see the worst case scenario. That is my job. You know how people say, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I am not the advocate of, I don't, like that, but I'm taught to show the very worst that can happen so that you will have respect. Some people say, I'm in bad shape, but I'm not as bad as that. Or I should have been satisfied with what I had because I'm worse off now than I was then. Learning to appreciate where we are, the information we have. Do you know how much it costs? We don't care about the cost because we don't have to see the bill. But when you are on Medicaid and you go to a doctor and you have to stay for weeks and weeks at a time, that bill could be $200,000. If you got to take a helicopter, my brother had to be taken in the helicopter, and that was $10,000 to be taken from Manning to Florence. $10,000 that you would have had to pay. So the elderly, even if they had money, are losing every dime as they get older. Do you know how much it costs to have a hospital stay? We don't, because we're not responsible for that. We get a check in the mail, we get our Medicaid card, and we're not grateful to God for that mercy. We deserve it as a people because we work for so long for free, but still, you have to be grateful. Almost done. Studies have shown, and scientists are warning, that the CV will never leave the body, especially in black males, especially in males. What it is doing, it is accumulating in the testicle sac. So if this abnormal virus is accumulating in the testes, what do you think is going to happen to children who are born after this? Deformed. Remember Zika virus? Remember the children were being born with small heads? You know what radiation does to a... Look up radiation poisoning and look up bombs that Obama sanctioned to be dropped over cities in Iraq, Iran, and places like that, and see these deformed children, born deformed. I mean, one eye like a cyclops, no mouth, no ears, all from radiation poisoning. All from the cell phones, gradually, all from microwaves. I call everyone's name so you don't put me under the line of, oh, he's a racist. I'm not defending Trump. I'm telling you to look deeper into what's being said. I'm not bashing Obama. I'm telling you to look deeper into what has been said. And we're closing. I was asking my son, I said, isn't that app TikTok, isn't that like another version of Vine? And he was like, yeah. He's 13 years old. He said, yeah, but not really. It's different. I don't think it has a time limit on the videos. And he said, plus it was geared towards, and these are his words, geared towards younger people, but more older people are on it. So older people are influencing us, the younger people, what to do. You see Lizzo on there twerking. You see Lizzo on there zipping a man's pants down, getting ready to perform oral sex right on TikTok. You see my other son, who is old, is telling me that the strippers, because they can't be in the club, they've set up a page where you can cash app them and they'll bounce their booty for you. All right there. But look at what my son said to me, and I had to quote it. He said, Dad, memes, which I used to call memes, but he said memes are psychological warfare. Just the visuals can make you believe anything. Psychological warfare. So the whites, who I'm closing, in the militia groups are saying, if you are playing a psyop on us, if you are making us lose our livelihood, our businesses, our homes, our family members, if we find out that you did that, there will be hell to pay. Blacks are saying, well, I trust Jesus, and whatever the Lord wants to be is going to be, and the Lord won't place on you nothing more than you can handle. Someone else is fighting your battles. Throughout the Bible, everybody had to fight. Everybody had to fight at some point. And those who were closest to Jesus started to backing out when the fighting started. As long as they were just walking around and saying, I'm with this cat, I'm with him, it was fine. But when Jesus was allegedly being marched to his death, there was Mary Magdalene, his mother Mary, and one other prophet, one other follower. And the rest of them were hiding. And even when he was brought back to life, according to scripture, those who said they believed in him questioned him. Hey, man, show me them nail prints in your hand but they were being taught who he was, and they claimed to believe. But when it was time to fight, see, we don't have no real warriors. We got murderers who will draw on an unarmed person and kill him, who will draw on an armed person and shoot and kill for territory that they don't own. That's a murderer. We have murderers. So my son says, psychological warfare, all they got to do is put it on a meme. And we just memeing. The conversation is getting shorter and shorter. So we're not talking anymore. We just posting up a picture. Pretty soon everybody be doing sign language. Lazy ass. The young don't want to fight, don't want to study, don't want to learn, just want to know. I'm closing. To young people, your warning. The ultimate aim is to come after you. Any of you that want to kill, this virus will be lying dormant in your testicles. Why? Because you're performing anal sex on other men, anal sex on women, women who don't clean themselves. A guy was on the internet saying, I see all the Lysol and the hand sanitizer going off the shelf, but the darn tampons and the feminine wash is still on the shelf. He like, women, are y'all cleaning your ass? Excuse my language, but I got to put it just like that. These young girls, no, they will have sex with you. Listen, I used to do lawn care, and I did lawn care in a yard way out in the country. And when I was going to that house, it was literally my house because the lady lived in New York. She was older. Whatever you want to do out there, you do. Just keep the grass cut. So I went out there one day, and there were 3 cars parked in the driveway. 4 guys were outside of one car, 2 was outside of another car, 2 were in the front seat of the other one, and 2 were in the back seat with a girl. I got out of the car and I'm like, yo, hey man, y'all welcome to stay here and do what you're doing, bro, but I got to get in here and cut this grass. And I heard the girl in there, slow down, slow down. All of them getting it. So that's like 7, 8 dudes off top. With condoms on, but condoms have holes in them. They have to have air, has to go through the condom. So you can blow a condom up like you blow up a balloon and you leave it there and the air gradually seeps out. I'm making a point. They're after you. Fred the Godson. Now Scarface is suffering. The Surgeon General comes on and says, be careful with the marijuana, the liquor and everything else, because it's affecting your lungs and it's not giving you the ability to fight any infection that may come in. You get mad at him. Why he's saying that to black people? Why black people? Oh my God. I'm scared for us. I trust God. But the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to never pray for the destruction of this world because we're going to be involved in it. Whatever white folks lose, we lose because we don't make nothing. We don't transport nothing. We don't design that. This is their world. They made it because they listened to their God. They followed instructions. And the promise was for 600 years, you own it. For 300 years, it says to Abraham, know of a surety, your seed will be in a land that is not theirs and they will be afflicted. 400 years, I think. So they had free labor for 400 years. We were slaves for physical slavery for 100 and something years now mental slavery. I mean, look, it's all prophesied in the book. Black males, you're in trouble. You can't control your appetite. Your sexual appetite, your appetite for liquor, for women, you can't control it. So you are easy to destroy. Y'all know what sativa is? Y'all know what sativa is. For those of you who don't know what sativa is, that is the high-end level of marijuana. And each strand of sativa, somebody please tell me how many strands there are, because I got tired looking at it last night. Each strand of sativa is genetically designed to create emotions in us. Some of us just smoke weed. We don't know what we're smoking, so you get angry, you get hyper. But there's weed to make you angry, weed to make you calm, weed to make you think, weed to make a woman have an orgasm. It's called sex pot. Oh, I got to get some of that. Weed to control your thinking. Weed to make you apathetic. So all the murders and things that are going on in society, when you see their mug shots, their eyes is all black. They ain't got no feeling. Guarantee you they've been smoking weed. Either that angel dust, or black tar heroin. Something they were doing. Something to make them apathetic. They're after you. But I was looking at TMZ, and on TMZ the other night, they made joke after joke after joke about this virus. It was funny. They recorded on a hot mic in the Senate or somewhere where the guy told the other person, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. We got a vaccination. And they joking about it. You know why? Because it's killing you, black man and black woman. Because it's infecting you. Because I know an insurance agent that tells me, he told me, Brother Johnny, when I asked him, do they have any illnesses? He said they talk about HIV proudly. Oh, yeah, I got HIV. But still promiscuous. Nothing wrong with, you can contract it anyway. You can just be with one person and it's not stigmatized like you're a bad person. But if you have a disease and you're not protecting yourself and you're spreading the disease, a contaminated people are no good to anybody. They don't make jokes about opioid addiction. So go back and listen to this if you can. I didn't record it on my phone, on my computer, because it was just so much material. But when this thing mutates, and I believe it already has, into a spore, Lysol and stuff like that won't be able to stop it. I don't believe this is the rapture, like but a lot of people are going to die. And every night before I go to bed, I see my family, my wife, my sons dying, and I can't help them, myself dying, and I can't do anything about it. So I pray constantly for God's mercy, constantly. And I advise you to do the same. Don't take this as a joke. Do what you have to do to survive. But in this case, prayer does matter. In this case, in all cases, prayer and then the work. And in all information that you find out, you share it. You share it. I was in line to become a Mason right there at Temple number 99. Myself, along with about 4 other fellows, were in the Masonic order when we were 18. They indoctrinated us as Knights of Pythagoras. But when I found out that I couldn't share information, I told my worship leader, look, this ain't right for me, because whatever I learned, I want to share. And he went out of his way to get the people to come and talk to us about the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. And I said, that's it. That's what I want. Because not only can I learn, but I can share it. That's what I want right there. And it engulfs everybody. So it's not like Christians are better, Buddhists are wrong, Hindus are wrong. Islam teaches that God has sent prophets and messengers to everybody. Some mentioned in the book and some not. But you cannot think in your and my small, minute minds that only Christianity, and Jesus didn't even call it that. Constantine called it that. Amen. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. We will start the Cracking the Biblical Code series very soon. I thought I was ready to go on, and I made a statement on the internet, and then Jeremiah Montgomery just bust me dead in the head with something I read the Bible over and over so many times, but that passed me, about the weeping prophet, about Jeremiah the prophet, the weeping prophet, and I had to go back and I got to study some more, because I didn't even know about that so much. Now I do. Thank God for him. Thank him for putting it out there. Thank you all for listening. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Sorry about that.